So let's be honest, every business right now is asking the same question. How do we make AI work for us? The possibilities are endless, but here's the problem. Guessing is too risky. You can't just experiment with your business operations and hope it works out. But sitting on the sidelines, that's not an option either, because one thing is almost certain. Your competitors are already making their move. No more waiting. With NetSuite by Oracle, you can put AI to work today and do it the right way. NetSuite is the #1 AI cloud ERP trusted by over 43,000 businesses. It's a unified suite that brings your financials, inventory, commerce, HR, and CRM into one single source of truth. And that connected data, that's what makes your AI smarter. So it doesn't just guess, it knows. It intelligently automates routine tasks, delivers actionable insights, and helps you cut costs while making fast AI-powered decisions with confidence. Here is what I love. You've got total flexibility. With NetSuite AI Connector, you can use the AI of your choice and connect it to your actual business data. That means you can ask every question you ever had. Who are my key customers? What's my cash on hand? What are my inventory trends? Plus, automate those tiresome manual processes. Let's see your competitors do that. This isn't some new bolted-on tool you're trying to make work with your existing system. This is an AI built into the system that runs your business to help you stay ahead of the pack. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, get our free business guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/SPI. The guide is free for you at netsuite.com/SPI, netsuite.com/SPI. Your business is growing, that's awesome, but are you stuck doing all the jobs because no one else gets it? Don't be a bottleneck at this crucial time. Indeed is all you need to find someone with the right skills. Stop struggling to get your listing noticed on other sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post stands out right away. It really works. Sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to report a hire. So join the over 1 million companies already using Indeed. That's where I'd go if I were looking for anyone from podcast editors to community experts. Background matters, and Indeed allows me to get super specific about it. I'd want someone who understands our brand and has experience with the right software and services. The thing about Indeed sponsored jobs is that I'd get people who actually fit my description. No more digging through resumes. Plus, you only pay for results. No monthly subscriptions, just a boost when you need to hire fast. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, and more results now with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed.
So, Pat, we sold SwitchPod.
Yeah, we sell SwitchPods every day. New customers on Amazon.
No, I don't mean like Shopify orders. I mean like we sold all of SwitchPod.
Oh, that. Yeah, let's talk about that. How's that for a hook? But yes, just to cut to the chase, Caleb and I sold SwitchPod. And if you don't know what SwitchPod is, it is a tripod/invention. I mean, we even had the patents to this thing. It was a journey that started in 2017. And it is now 2026, and we can officially say we've sold SwitchPod. I mean, this is your first business you've sold, Caleb?
Yeah, I've never sold one before, never sold a majority stake like this and stayed on as advisors like we're going to at all. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to talk about today how this went down, where this came from, why did we sell it, why didn't we take it to where we potentially thought this could go. But I want to take us back to, for those who don't know, like how this all started. It will be a nice little reflection for us too. And almost like this is a celebration episode for us, for sure. We're very happy and very stoked. But it's also bittersweet because this was our baby. You know, Caleb and I had a baby together and it had 3 legs.
Is that the headline? Is that the name of the podcast?
Yeah.
And it had 3 legs.
It had 3 legs, yeah. And then later came the head of the baby and the mobile.
The ball head?
Yeah. The mobile converter.
Your analogy is falling apart.
I know it is. So can you bring us back, Caleb? Let's recall like where this idea even started.
Yeah, so the origin story is we were at Vid Summit in LA in 2017. And it was towards the end of the weekend of the event of the conference. A lot of YouTubers, video creators, vloggers, things like that. And I don't know if you said it first or I said it first, but we were complaining about gorilla pods, like the bendy tripods with the legs that you have to like hold in the exact position. And you know, Casey Knight was starting to make it famous that was how you vlogged. If you were a vlogger, you got a gorilla pod, you bent it, and you held your camera that way. And we're just like, there's got to be a better way. And then Richie Norton from Product walked up, who you knew. I didn't know him really at all at that point. And he was like, well, let's make a better one. And we're like, what are you talking about? We're just complaining. Like, this is what you do as an entrepreneur. You just are like, this doesn't make sense. Someone should fix it. No, Richie was like, I help people make products. And so let's make something. So I really think it was at the end of that event, because I remember getting in your car. You had a Tesla at that point, and you could draw on the screen. And so we drew the worst finger drawing on your Tesla of like what this first switch pod could look like.
Yeah, like Microsoft Paint version of a tripod. And it was just literally like 3 legs, but it was the way that they like kind of the vision for us to be able to take those legs and make them one handle.
Yeah.
That was like the big idea.
Yeah.
And I could not stop thinking about it. I mean, that's how we all are when we get new business ideas. Like, it just takes over your life in a way. But like Caleb and I kept sharing new ideas and new images and names for this. It wasn't named the Switch Pod back then. We had like the Snake Pod, I think.
Cobra Pod was one.
Cobra Pod.
Yeah, because we thought like it could have kind of like how snakes have their scales that kind of interlock, and maybe that's how it bent in a certain way was we were looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But eventually we came up with an idea and gave it to Richie and his team. And it was Jace over there and our engineer, Cole, who 3D put it into like a program and then got us a print.
Started 3D printing versions of it.
We made like cardboard versions too, just so we can like hold it and know what the size was. But I think it really set in that this was something we were going to do once I got that first 3D printed version. I was like, oh man, this is sick.
I think they were here in San Diego for Social Media Marketing World, maybe then like 5-6 months later. And they brought just the top of it. And the way you could kind of open and close it and fidget with it, your eyes lit up.
Yeah. It was really cool. And I was like, oh, we're going to do this, aren't we? You know, it took a long time to get to a point where we were ready to sell it, but I had so much fun in the process. And we talked about this a lot on previous episodes, going to events with those prototypes and handing them to YouTubers who would be our target customer. And we got so much value. Do you remember some of the people specifically that were like reviewing that for us? I know Roberto Blake was huge in giving us some feedback and advice.
Yeah. I mean, our first time we took physical prototypes, we had 1 metal one and 2 plastic ones. We went to VidCon in Anaheim.
That's right, VidCon, right?
Yeah, so that was 2018. That would have been the next year. Just anyone we saw, we would also just like kind of walk around, like you would like swing it open and close and like see if anyone would come over.
They would react.
Yeah. Kind of like a butterfly knife or something. You're just kind of playing with it. Yeah. And like people are like, wait, what is that? Or you would like, we would just walk up to people like, what do you think of this? What is this? How much would you pay for this? Like, what would you change?
That was our research.
Yeah. So just, boots on the ground, getting feedback. And then shortly after that was Craft and Commerce, which we were speaking at, and Casey Neistat was also speaking at. So we had like 5 or 6 minutes at the speaker dinner that he was at. And Nathan introduced us and showed it to him. And, I have footage of him holding it and talking about it. He goes like, this is the Switch Pod. Yeah. We've never used any of that, honestly. We didn't want to like take advantage of that. But he gave us 3 pieces of feedback. One was...
make it black, right?
Yeah. One was, I think, make it smaller. And there was one other one. I'm blanking on it. But we did all 3 of those things because Casey said to make those changes. So then we were at like our final prototyping phase a few months later and brought a few of those that cost thousands of dollars to make one of them.
Because they're handmade.
Yeah. So they were machined, handmade out of aluminum at that point. And we were at Vid Summit, which is where the initial idea came from. And that's where Peter McKinnon was. So we were showing it to different people, and we got a chance to show it to Peter. And that's how, a couple months later when we launched on Kickstarter, he was able to... we custom made another one and mailed it to him.
The $1,500 ones.
Yeah.
We gave him like one of the first versions, and I remember making the box and putting the confetti in there or like whatever Easter type packaging and a little note. And I was just like, hey, thank you for supporting the Switch Pod. Like, we didn't ask for anything in return. Of course, we were hoping he would promote it when the Kickstarter campaign came out in February of 2019, but he had seen it at Vid Summit. He and his crew like loved it.
He was like, can I have this one? I was like, I need it to take pictures of and to make the Kickstarter campaign. But I was like, we'll make you one. Yeah.
Yeah. So we made him one, sent it. And then his team reached out to us and was like, hey, good news. Peter wants to help out when you do your Kickstarter campaign. So he's just going to take the one that you did and talk about it and like, look out for that video. When are you going live? And we told him the date. He's like, okay.
Well, he was like, can I put out a video today? And I was like, can you wait a week? We're not quite ready yet.
That's right.
Because he was like, I'll post a video today when he got it. And I was like, can you wait till next week when our Kickstarter campaign goes live?
So he dropped it on the day that the campaign came out.
About 6 hours after we launched the Kickstarter campaign.
And then it was soon after that we hit our $100,000 goal in 11 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I remember that day. I was at your house in your studio, and we were just watching the numbers, and it was crazy. Oh my gosh, it was so cool to see that happen. Now, a lot of people then were like, you're rich. Look at all this money you're making. We're like, no, the molds cost like $75,000. Like there's so much that went into making a physical product that I had never experienced before. The molds, and you went to China.
Yep.
You want to talk about that really quick?
Yeah. So between the Kickstarter campaign and when we actually shipped that first batch of them, I went to China with the product team, went to the factory, went to the packaging place, did final kind of QA on stuff, which I'm glad I did. There was a small issue that we fixed there in person.
What was that issue?
It was just not smoothly opening and closing. It was like kind of grinding a little bit. So we adjusted the mold before they did the full batch. Like stuff you avoid, go to China and make sure it works before they make 10,000 of them.
Right.
So,
right. Man. And then you almost got left in China or something?
Oh, there's 2 airports in Shanghai. I didn't know that there were 2 different ones. So my connecting flight was, my first flight went to the domestic one, and then there's the international airport. And so.
Yeah, that we'll save that story for another day. But you were stressing out.
Yeah, I didn't speak Mandarin to the taxi driver. I called TFN. They had left and gone to China at that point.
Jen pregnant?
Yes.
So there was like a worry that you wouldn't come home in time for like baby or something.
Yeah. I made it back. It was okay.
You did.
But we shipped SwitchPod right when my first was born, around like the same week.
Oh, that's crazy. So you had a baby with me and with Jen.
Yep. Mine have 2 legs. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. And then we went on this PR tour in New York, and we went and visited B&H. We sat in this conference room with like a really scary dude who like said some numbers.
It was just intimidating. We hadn't been in that situation before. We didn't know what numbers to have. We didn't know what our profit margin was or our MSRP.
Oh, we were learning as we were going. This is the story that I largely focus on in lean learning, because it was literally us finding things out as we were going. But it took off. And then we visited MKBHD in his studio. We noticed that he started using it in some of his videos too. And then it was off to the races. Getting it on Amazon was a little bit of a chore because Amazon is Amazon. But once it was there and we got the top ranking spot for SwitchPod, we were just selling them every day kind of automatically. And then you had twins. I had other business things going on. The Pokemon thing started to take off, and we just didn't put a lot of additional time and effort into it. We added some more products, right? Like the ball head and the mobile adapter, which were just like white labeled versions of products that already existed in China, which were great. I think during COVID, there was a company that bought like hundreds of them, just the
ball head. Yeah, they bought like 200 of them across Canadian airports for
COVID scanning or something.
Scanning of like if people are sick.
Like had fevers or something.
Yeah.
That was so random.
They searched the internet and they were like, this is the best ball head. I want to buy them at wholesale from you I was like, okay, you can buy 200 of them. That's fine.
And then we got into Best Buy for a brief moment, but it was during COVID, which is why sales were low. And they were like, your sales aren't good enough to stay. And we're like, but nobody could go in the stores.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that happened with timing where, we shipped our first ones at the end of 2019. COVID hit literally 5-6 months later. And so in one way, that was a benefit because a lot of people were at home. They had expendable money because they weren't traveling and doing other things.
They wanted to create content.
And they wanted to create content.
Right.
They wanted to be a YouTuber. They wanted to make social media stuff. So there was a big uptick in 2020 and 2021. But the downside was the retail side of things. So we were in process of being in Best Buy and being in other places.
Potentially Target.
Potentially other big box stores and international too. I was like starting to build those relationships. And a lot of stuff just got shut down. Best Buy was like, we're not accepting any new products. We're only doing pickup at our stores. So there was just a lot of things timing wise that were good and bad for when we launched the product.
Yeah. And then life got busy. The product continued to sell. it was fairly passive. How much Caleb did most of the sort of quote unquote upkeep month over month? Like how many hours were you putting in eventually when things stabilized?
Yeah. 2019, that was probably like a quarter to a half of my work time getting it launched, getting the first production done. Then going to like 2020, 2021, that was more like a 15, 20 hours a month kind of thing. It was like customer support, dealing with retailers, trying to expand stuff, social media, things like that. And then 2021 to 2022, kind of put it on more like autopilot a bit more, not pushing it as hard and focusing on other stuff.
You know that moment when you look up from your desk and realize you just spent 3 hours on paperwork instead of actually building your business? That used to happen to me all the time. I'd be buried in tax forms, onboarding documents, trying to figure out payroll calculations, and all that repetitive admin work ate up my day. And I kept thinking, there has to be an easier way to do this. Turns out there is. That's why we use Gusto at SPI. Gusto is online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. It's all-in-one, remote-friendly, and incredibly easy to use. So you can pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere. Here's what saved me the most time and headaches. Automatic payroll tax filing. No more guessing. No more late-night panic about whether I did it right. Gusto handles it. Simple direct deposits, health benefits, 401k options. It's all built with options for nearly every budget. And get this. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price. No hidden fees, no surprises. It's quick and simple to switch to Gusto. Just transfer your existing data to get up and running fast. Plus, don't pay a cent until you run your first payroll. Gusto is the #1 payroll software according to G2 and trusted by over 400,000 small businesses. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/SPI and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/SPI. One more time, gusto.com/SPI. So I've built a lot of websites over the years, from my first lead exam site back in 2008 to Smart Passive Income and everything in between. And let me tell you, one of the biggest headaches has always been making updates. You have this great idea for a new landing page, or you want to test a different headline, and suddenly you're either wrestling with some complicated platform or waiting days for somebody to help you make it happen. It's a momentum killer, really. That's exactly the problem that Framer solves. Framer is a no-code website builder that gives your team the power to design, publish, and manage your entire site without relying on engineers. It works like a design tool, but with real-time collaboration, a robust CMS for SEO, and enterprise-grade hosting and security. Companies like Perplexity and Miro use Framer because changes go live in seconds, literally one click, and you're published. No tickets, no waiting, no bottlenecks. Whether you're a startup testing your first landing pages or an established business ready to migrate your full site, Framer makes it possible to move at the speed of your ideas instead of the speed of your dev queue. And here's the thing, your website is the one touch point every single customer has with your brand. If making simple updates feels harder than it should, you're leaving opportunity on the table. Learn how you can get more out of your .com from a Framer specialist, or get started building for free today at framer.com/SPI for 30% off a Framer Pro annual plan. That's framer.com/SPI for 30% off. Framer.com/SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. We had ideas of putting more time back into it once the world opened up again and we had more time and thought about it more. I mean, it was always there, and we had discussed potentially creating like a smaller version. That was a big piece of feedback we got. They're like, we love this, but can you make a smaller version? And we're like, I mean, we could, but that's a huge investment because of we need new molds for that and all that kind of stuff. So we never got down that route, although we do have a prototype. There were even some other ideas for other accessories and things, but we just, I don't know. I didn't lose my love for the Switch Pod, but I just lost the energy to continue to kind of promote and invent new things on top of it. I don't know how you felt.
Yeah, I mean, we had other ideas of mic stands and things that are unique. Like we were trying to think of other types of hardware that didn't have electronics in it that would help people create content. And there were things that we prototyped or brainstormed about or tried, and it just kind of came down to not wanting to take a risk on those things. So we mainly just kept the main product and the accessories and left it at that. And, you know, there's a lot of things when you get into physical product, there's a lot more investment up front to do inventory runs and merch and stuff too. But you know, there's a lot of overhead costs. Like you got to be pretty confident that stuff's going to work out, which is why we Kickstarted in the first place. You know, like you said, the Kickstarter campaign did like $415,000
in 60 days
after fees. You know, that was in the high 300,000s. And then we spent like 300,000 of it like right away to get the molds made, which are like the big metal things that you pour the liquid metal into to make the different shapes for all the pieces, and then doing a huge run. So anytime that we wanted to do a huge run, you know, you're talking $50,000, $100,000 all at once to go make 5,000 or 10,000 of these things. And then you're paying to store them somewhere. There's just so much more overhead than courses and AdSense and all the like digital marketing type stuff that you're more familiar with and have been doing longer.
But it's like people buy it and they can use it immediately. That was so different. And what I loved so much about the Switch Pod was people bought it. First of all, the packaging was really nice. Everybody who was involved with that did a great job. Keone's in a photo and they're holding it up. So it's like, oh, a kid can hold this. It must be light. It's something that a person purchases, they screw it onto their camera, and then they're immediately using it. And I know some people now, even 7 years later, who are like, that's my go-to travel tripod. They're still using the same one they had. It's strong. You can like stand on it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't do planned obsolescence. You know, like in theory, if you buy one, it should outlast your camera.
It should.
Because it's made of metal and, you know, you You might break it, but other than that, it should work.
I mean, I know some people who've bought dozens for their crew. That's like, this is the thing we need when we go out in the field. Let's grab one and use it. And then people have gifted it. Daryl and we did a deal for Vid Summit one year where we were a sponsor at that event, but he got a SwitchPod for every attendee, which was really awesome. And we had like a Vid Summit branded SwitchPod that was made. So there's, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 of those out there in the world. I don't know if you've seen, but I've seen people using the SwitchPod like in the wild, like as just regular people.
At events.
Yeah. The craziest one I saw was a baseball player using it while he was eating lunch in San Diego. And I went up to him, Trevor Bauer, who unfortunately a few weeks later got into some heat across the world with some not great text messages that were actually... Anyway, just look up Trevor Bauer. He's innocent, but I built this relationship with him, and then I had to kind of remove everything because of the allegations that were all happening. But anyway, he was using the SwitchPod. He's like, man, I'm a big fan of this thing. And I was like, yeah, I made it. And he's like, wait, you're Pat Flynn? Like, I listen to your podcast, and I love your SwitchPod. And everywhere he went with the Dodgers, he was using the SwitchPod to film himself vlog because he had like the best and most entertaining kind of MLB vlog that was out there. So it was cool to see people use it. That's what I love about it. It did what we said it would do, as opposed to courses and stuff. It's just like, we know this works. We've proven it. And there are people who've gone through our stuff and it's worked, but you still have to do the work and you still have to believe in it. And that's not easy for a lot of people. So I'm still doing physical products with like merch and stuff, but those are much, much easier. Like there's nothing with injection moldings or anything like that. But why don't you maybe lead into the sale and kind of us having discussions about that even before we found a buyer?
Yeah.
You and I have had discussions about what do we do with this? Do we just let it coast or do we sell it? And, of course, we were probably, and we knew this, we were past the prime selling point. If we sold it in 2021, we could have done very, very well.
Yeah.
Still happy with how everything turned out, but where were your feelings coming from as far as like finally letting go of it?
Yeah, I think we both probably cared less about running a physical product business, as well as people honestly saw the success of small handheld tripods like that, and there's competition, that came out.
There were, yeah.
Mantis Pod was definitely one where it like had way more features, and like it had the backing of a company that makes equipment that like went all in on making something similar as a competitor to it. Like when that came out, there was a lot of videos that were like Mantis Pod versus SwitchPod. Yeah, and so I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to be doing and playing the physical product game. And so at that point, we probably should have looked for a buyer. Because like you said, sales were stronger, but more recently, just an opportunity came through you of someone that is into e-commerce and it does live and breathe this world and can take the brand and have it live on, as opposed to having us just let it kind of fizzle out.
Yeah. I knew that it would eventually get to this point, and I was worried that it would fizzle out, although it was kind of leading there. So it's nice that I came across an opportunity, a friend of mine who is in e-commerce, and he was looking to purchase various e-commerce companies for his portfolio essentially, and then hopefully grow them. And it's like, we have always had the chance to put more time and effort into it to grow it. It's not anything that's like, oh, well, people are done with this. It just hasn't had the love and the time and the energy and the money and effort required to get it to that next level. And hopefully this person can do that. And we are, like you said in the beginning, we're still on as advisors because we have some shares in this company now as a result. But we did get some cash up front for it, and we've split that, and we've kind of did our thing with it. What did we do with the patents too? The patents are now owned by this person as well,
right? They transferred to them too. Yeah.
For the transfer, what other things off the top of your mind? I know there's like a huge list of things, but like when we do a sale like this, or if somebody were to do a sale like this, what are the things that we need to also think about that are going to be transferred over?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole great book about this called Built to Sell. That's like how to grow a business that enables you to sell it. But for us, it was just knowing all your information, like knowing all your numbers, having historical stuff, because they ask all those things. So it's not just having a proper QuickBooks account that you've like kept up to date and doing your taxes. Like they want to know your inventory. They want to know your cost per every item. How much does it cost it? Because they're going to want to go make more. Like you just got to know your numbers, know your stuff. So going into that prepared with all that information, made it go faster.
Yeah, for sure. And you did a great job organizing all that so that was easy. I mean, you just had it readily available. Other things to think about for selling is the list of customers that you have, your email list, social media accounts, Shopify store and any of those assets that come along with that. We've transferred over a lot of the images that you've taken that we owned that now they own, that they can kind of do what they want with. So it is a lot of stuff, and it actually kind of went pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, compared to how I know other businesses have been sold. But overall, it took, 2 months to go from initial chat to getting the money in our accounts.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, what a way to start 2026.
Yeah. And I also think that because we branded it as its own separate thing, both publicly and legally and stuff, that really helped too. So
true.
Separate bank accounts, separate LLC, separate brand name. It wasn't called like Pat and Caleb's Tripod or something, like that would have been harder to sell and an awful name. But those things helped too. Just knowing that this is like a separate entity that someone else could purchase. Right. It made it cleaner.
It kind of did build it to sell in a way.
Yeah.
Or at least use those principles so that the transfer was
even
easy.
from the beginnings, making an LLC with our ownership percentages
LLC,
and all that stuff.
How are you feeling now that we're on the other end of this? It's been 2 weeks since we've let go of our baby and it's doing its thing now. And, we haven't even had our first kind of advisor call yet.
Yeah.
And so it's nice again that, like Caleb said, we're still involved and we want this to succeed for this person. But why ultimately did we do this? I mean, yes, there was some money, but what has it done for you letting this go?
I think it's a combination of wanting what's best for that company, for that brand and the business that we put time and effort and energy and sweat into to get it off the ground, that we either don't want to do anymore or don't have the focus or shouldn't, or that we're not the best at. Like, let someone else take it now. Let someone else run with it, as well as just a focus thing of, use the analogy of like a stovetop. You have like 4 burners or something like that. I feel like it's one less thing you have to keep checking that's not going to catch on fire, or you forget that like, I need to restart.
It's a great analogy.
So you mentioned kids. I have 3 young kids. That happened quickly over the span of 2019 to 2021. And those are like businesses in a way,
Yeah.
So it's been a lot on my plate lately of that, but also I'm helping on the SPI side of things too. And you've spawned a whole nother business since COVID with Deep Pocket Monster. So it's just, there's other priorities and focuses. And if you have less of them, you can spend more time on the ones you have.
I love building businesses, but I also have known and have realized and have learned that in order for those businesses to grow and get the attention that they deserve, you kind of have to say no to some things too. And sometimes those are things that you still love and enjoy. And as Stephen King would say, like, kill your darlings kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those cases. It's great for us because it opens up more time and space. And even though, like we were saying earlier, it was mostly automated, it's still there in our brain, taking up space and bandwidth and time. And overall, I think this puts an incredible bookend to this story that we've had and have documented for the last 7 years, from the videos that we have showing the prototype. This was like pre-Beard Pat at a desk in my old office showing off the prototypes. And we were just that story and how excited we were. And I'm just very grateful that you and I have continued to partner on different things and still work together in different various kind of ways. I think that was part of the fun, was doing it with you. But also it was just really neat to see it was a success. Like, we did it. We didn't make a gajillion dollars.
Yeah.
But we also didn't make nothing. We made a lot of good money during and now after. And just, I'm grateful for the story that we can share and the lessons we can pass forward.
How has this been different from other businesses you've sold in the past? I know you've sold websites.
I've sold websites and like the security guard training business, the food truck thing. This was the thing that I've sold that I've been the most closest to, because I'm not passionate about security guards. I think they're great if you're a security guard. I appreciate your work. Thank you. But, it wasn't like something I got my hands dirty with.
Yeah.
That was more being a resource, right? Just a helpful resource versus like, I made that thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what made it more difficult. But I think it's what made it just a better story overall. I feel really good. I feel really happy. I feel like it's happened at the right time, although, like I said, it could have happened earlier, but it's not even about the money. I think we gave it what it needed, and now hopefully this new person can give it what it needs now. It's off to college now.
Yeah. My kids are not ready for college. They're 4 and 6. But
Keone's 16.
He's basically ready.
He basically looks like he's in college.
But this is probably what it would feel like if your kid moves out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if he had 3 legs. Anyway, Thank you so much for listening in. Any final tips for anybody, Caleb, listening who either is into business or has multiple businesses, is thinking about going down this route of selling? What would be, from your perspective, maybe the best tip that you have?
Trusting your gut. Like when you know maybe you're done with something. I think everyone kind of lets things go too long. Relationships, maybe it's a girlfriend or boyfriend or something. You're like, this is not going to work.
We love our wives, by the way.
But it's easier. It's easier to have it keep going than it is to like break up.
Yeah.
So that it can be similar with businesses. It can be similar with ideas or clients or customers or whatever it is. Usually like deep down, okay, I should probably just do it now. It's going to be painful whenever, so I might as well do it now.
Yeah.
But in our case, it would have been more profitable to do it earlier when we saw the tea leaves of like, okay, maybe this isn't something we want to do for 10 more years. Let's try to sell it. And, that was another thing we didn't do is we didn't really put it up for sale.
No, we weren't active in doing this at all. This was just an opportunity that fell in my lap. And I was like, hey, should we do it? Yeah, we talked about it. Okay.
Yeah.
What if we had those conversations that were more proactive back in 2021 to 2022?
Yeah.
We could have gotten maybe 3 or 4 more times than what we've gotten. But
and then the person that took it on would have had a bit more momentum maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to let go to grow. That's what I like to say. But also follow your gut. That's a great one for sure. So thank you all for listening in. I appreciate you for subscribing and listening to the podcast. We got more episodes coming your way very soon. A lot of interviews with some amazing creators, ones that you may have never heard of before, who are doing amazing things that can help inspire you and help you understand what to do next. So thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Let me ask you something. How many leads have you paid for, created content for, or worked hard to attract, only to lose them because you didn't follow up fast enough? Someone fills out a form, sends a DM, books a call, and if you're not quick, they're gone. That's exactly why more entrepreneurs are moving their entire back end to High Level. High Level is an all-in-one CRM, marketing, and automation platform that brings everything under one roof. Instead of juggling tools, you can capture and track leads, follow up instantly with email, SMS, or AI, build funnels and landing pages, book appointments, collect payments, manage conversations, all from one dashboard. And here's the part that changes everything. With built-in AI and automation, High Level can respond to leads, send reminders, and keep conversations moving even while you're asleep. It's not hype, it's infrastructure. The difference between busy and scalable usually comes down to systems. If you want fewer tools, faster follow-up, and a backend that actually supports your growth, go to smartpassiveincome.com/highlevel and start your free 30-day trial. That's smartpassiveincome.com/HIGHLEVEL. Stop letting opportunities slip. Build a system that closes.